Hey everyone, I have been spending the last couple of nights playing this game, Sunless Sea. It just came out on Steam. Well, okay, back up. It's actually technically been out on Steam, I believe, since last summer. It's been in early access, but I have not necessarily a rule, but I tend to shy away from checking out games until they've actually hit 1.0 and developers have decided this is the game that I want you to play. Not to say that engaging in early access isn't interesting for a developer or a player, but for me personally, I want to play the game when they've said, this is the game we wanted to make, we're ready to sell it, this is what we want to put in front of everyone, this is the game we intended to make, this is what we're proud of. So, although I had heard cool things about Sunless Sea, I wanted to wait, like I said, until it hit 1.0. And so it did! Like a week ago? I don't know, not too long ago, but in the last couple of nights, before I've gone to bed, I've decided I'm going to engage with this Lovecraftian seafaring nightmare. And, I mean, come on. Look at that goddamn shark. It's chained up, which makes me feel bad, but then I wonder, is it chained up because it's done something wrong? Is it chained up because if it wasn't, it would be a menace to us all? So is the person that locked that shark up doing us all a favor? I probably won't know. We're never going to quite know. The one certain thing about Sunless Sea, the one thing you can be for sure of, is that things, well, you're gonna die. Three, two. Things never really go quite how you expect them to in Sunless Sea, or at least maybe I'm just bad at playing it and things go much better for other people, but they just go constantly poorly for me. This is my third game of Sunless Sea. It is, I guess, a roguelike, but every time I play, things play out similarly. I guess you could do them in a different order, but there seems to be kind of, at least in the early game, an ideal way to kind of get things going. But before we get into explaining exactly how the game plays, let's talk to this mouse. Ferret. I apologize. Now, I've already screwed this up. Does that mean I need to stop? Do I need to record this from the beginning? I called a mouse, or a ferret a mouse. I apologize, Mr. Ferret, but I'm going to go ahead and say hello. Play. That eye roll says play. I played once in the happy warrens of London before you installed me in this floating coffin and made me eat dried food. Damn you! It's an eloquent eye roll. So I've got several members of my crew. I'm not going to set off quite yet, but this is Fallen London. It is, whoa, an unexpected letter. Okay, I guess I'm going to have to answer this. Your sweetheart returns to London as soon as you may. Your sweetheart says, you are a father. Oh, God. Okay, well, this is unexpected for all sorts of reasons. I chose to stay with a woman that I had been seeing every time I came back to visit London, and now I've just been informed by this tiny, soot-filled little boy that I am a father. I'm assuming that that boy is not my son because that would be awfully quick, but I don't know how things happen in the Sunless Sea and in Fallen London. Maybe things move faster, so choose this option if you sired the child. Sired is an interesting way to put it. Your sweetheart. A surprise for you on your next return to London. I have taken in a foundling. Choose this option if you're unlikely to be either a father or mother. You. When I return to London, I will bring an additional recruit. Your child. Choose this option if you're giving birth to a child. That noise was not, if that even got picked up on the mic, my laundry is making a loud noise. I feel like that's trying to get me to pick we're going to be a child. I sired the child. I've chosen a new life. Go quickly, you have a child. Return to London to look after them, and then become a scion, allowing you to take 2 legacies. I have a child. Okay, wow, that got us a little off track in setting up what exactly is going on here at Sunless Sea. But it is a game in which you die a lot. You are commanding a ship You are part of Fallen London, which I'm not 100% sure what the story setup here is exactly, but it's you're traveling the water, and it's kind of London, it's kind of steampunk, and it's kind of Victorian, and you're on a ship, and there's Lovecraftian monsters and weird things that you fight, and you shoot cannons at them, and you have a ferret that talks to you, and sometimes you call that ferret a mouse. And then I've got this, what's your name? Haunted doctor? Ernest, learned, prone to jump loud at noises. Let's talk to this guy. Let's see what he's got to say. Ugh, if I talk to him, I have to use up items. So I'll explain that in a little bit. But anyway, so your home base is London. You start here. You're always trying to make it back here. Whoa. What do you mean I fed the crew? I haven't done anything. Okay. Alright, so things are moving along. As you can see, things are progressing even though I haven't actually done anything. My logbook just tells me I used up one of my supplies to feed my crew. And supplies are precious. I've only got $26. The currency of this game is echoes. I can go see if I can sell anything. I don't want to sell my engine. That would be bad. But they do allow you to sell the engine if you'd like. Fuel and supplies, but don't want to sell either of those. I don't want to sell my cannon. So there's nothing I can sell. I have, I have no money right now. Let's talk to my child. You, your sweetheart, and your child. What will your child call you? You don't want to raise your child, or you can't afford to. Turn away. Let your sweetheart raise the brat if they can. Oof. Father. Yes, you're the child's father. So that's locked. Unlocked when members. Quality of lodging. So I need to upgrade my shit if I want to become this child's father or its mother. Captain, your relationship will be remote or complicated or exceptional. Improve your lodging first. You can't raise a child in a room above a pub. Well, people do, but your sweetheart expects better. So I can't improve my lodgings. I don't have enough money. If I wanted to, let's see, I had an elegant townhouse. I need 1,000 echoes. I have 26. I'm sorry, child, but there's nothing I can do for you right now. Let's see. Port reports I can turn in. So when you come back to London, unfortunately, I can't. I want to leave, but if I leave, then we're off on an adventure. So we're having to go through a couple of these things. But basically, like, you'll visit different sections of the game, which will be clearer once we actually leave port. And when you gather stories at those ports, then you can bring them back and kind of cash them in. Let's see. I don't have any port reports. I can talk to the scholar. The scholar loves stories, so when you come across stories when you're wandering around, you can turn them back into him. Unfortunately, I don't have any stories to turn in. This guy is just someone who will give me cool stuff if I come back with 7 meter salt or 7 devil bone dice. Unfortunately, I don't have either of those. I have 2 surgeons. I wish I didn't, but that's just kind of how my crew turned out. You can add various crew that give you different bonuses. So, for example, this gives me hearts +6, pages +3, a doctor aboard +1. So hearts, equate to inspire, heal, defend. What's the other one? Pages. Esoteric and occasionally practice knowledge. Increase the speed at which you convert fragments to secrets. Fragments go up here. That's basically goes up as you discover new areas in the world, and then fragments turn into secrets. Secrets give you new abilities as you are wandering around. Look at that. That immediately starts using up my food. This game is all about managing shit. So let's just, even though I'd like to spend more time kind of poking around here, we're just gonna head off. We are gonna leave. We're gonna leave my child behind. Actually, we are actually going to purchase we got good fuel. We're gonna buy some supplies, and now we're gonna head off. So when you leave in Sunless Sea, I have a map. This shows what I have explored so far, where that shows how big the area actually is. I don't really have anything to do right now, but I'm trying to find new locations. So, you know, I had been screwing around up here, but I want to see what's down here. So you can't make any waypoints, which would be useful, but we're going to kind of cut our way down to the right and see what's over here. So, this could go poorly. I could run out of fuel. I could be attacked by pirates. I could, my crew hungry. But it's also possible nothing happens. It's also possible that everything goes just fine and we don't have to worry about a gosh darn thing. That said, I don't expect that to happen. I expect things to go extremely poorly. So you move pretty slowly because I have the slowest boat. It is a game in which you are trying to discover things, sell things, and slowly but surely upgrade your craft so that you can take on more ambitious adventures. Alright, well, this is the first time that I have encountered 2 enemies at once. So that one hasn't discovered me yet. I'm going to go ahead and make my way back. Combat's pretty simple. At least in the form that I have it currently set to, in which by set to I mean I don't have other options. So you can butcher for supplies, which basically means you'll bring your hunger down, or you can dissect it and you'll gain some knowledge. So there's 2 down here, so let's go ahead and dissect it. So I've gotten a fragment, and I've succeeded in a page chance. So not sure why. Nope, I would definitely don't want to be using my supplies up on healing the hull. That's really, I hit the wrong button. And I don't know why we just used all our supplies. This is terribly bad. I actually don't know why. The game is supposed to switch over to the... Okay, so, well, now it did. We've used up most of our supplies. This really could not have gone any poorer. This is really actually awful. I have used up the vast majority of my options. I'm gonna go ahead and eat. I'm getting out of here. The one thing I can hope for. Oh, this is terrible. So this is what happens in Sunless Sea. You accidentally hit the wrong button. I'm gonna have to fight this guy, but I'm also gonna end up using all of my hunger. Jeez, just shut up. Just leave me alone. He is hitting me really hard with a lot. I have not encountered a pirate that is this tenacious. You have to actually get it within view in order to actually do anything. This is extremely frustrating. I was excited to venture off and see a bunch of parts of this game, and instead I am now down to a hull of 7. And I am almost out of food. Even if I wanted to try and repair my hull, I couldn't. It wouldn't mean a thing. So we're gonna venture out to the sea. This is basically a doomed run. I had set up my boat pretty well. I hadn't exactly done a bunch of... There's another boat. I hadn't felt good about it, but this is the furthest I'd gotten, and I said, well, you know what? I'll share my furthest run yet with the fine folks who would like to maybe know a little bit more about this game. You can hit Z to send out a Z-Bat, and the Z-Bat basically brings you back information about nearby islands. There are no islands in range. I assume there will probably be one below. Nothing. So this is where we're at currently. It's not good. I guess I could try and fight these bats because I'm not sure what our other options are. We are going to die at sea. That is... If that is an option, we're going to eat. We got one supply. So we got a supply from defeating those bats. When you defeat enemies that you come across, they drop various things. And those bats just happen to drop some supplies. So the supplies go up to 1, even though we use the vast majority of our supplies on accidentally healing our boat. So all clear. We'll turn that off, which means that there's no longer a crew worrying about Station 3, a long way to the east. Once you've found something, it will mark it on your map. So let's go for Station 3. I feel like I would say what's the worst that can happen, but the worst already happened when I pressed the wrong button and we got bum rushed by 3 enemies, even though every time I have played this game, I have slowly come across 1 enemy at a time. Alright, so you'll see when you come across a new area, that little kind of circle there. Who is... Oh. That circle means we can dock with them. Actually, we'll probably fight this guy. Unclear why my gun is not working. Not really sure what's going on here, why this guy can attack me, but I can't use my weapon. That has not happened before? Can I dock? I can dock. We're not gonna... Hard to tell if that's a glitch. I've literally never run into that before. Maybe my crew is terrified? I don't know. Maybe because the fact the hull is 5 of 75? I'm not sure. We may infer a Station 1 and 2. We'll make conjecture a Station 4. Machinery hums behind high steel walls. Train your telescope on shore. Might be best to get a look from a distance. Sure. You can have a port report. Station 3. That's great, except that I have no way of getting back, probably. The only way to get past a wall is an imposing but sturdy-looking gate of triple barred silvery metal. A sign beside it reads deliveries. Okay. No wind. The metal is steel hard and icy cold at the touch. Attempts to chisels and crowbars fail. Perhaps if you could bring the ship's guns to bear, but no. If you return with a certain delivery, the gate will open. You'll know it if you find it. Search for signs of other visitors. It never hurts to know what you're up against. A chancy challenge. So you have things that you can kind of roll the dice on to see how they go. Where things are not going well for us. We're gonna, even though that's only a 60% chance, we are going to roll the dice. Stacked near the stairs is a pile of worn-out tools. Tongs whose hinges have given way, a hammer whose head is coming loose from its haft, an anvil whose surface is mazed with deep cracks. You've gained 10 fragments. You succeeded in a mirrors challenge. That didn't... None of that gave me anything I wanted. I don't think 3 fuel will get me back to where I'm going. Here's another station, though. Okay, we're going to try that. We're going to see if we can... Now the gun works. But I think he can take me out. We're just gonna mosey along. We're headed west. That auroral megalops is neither here nor there. We're already almost halfway made it to our destination. Your crew needs provisions. Well, yeah. Yeah. Don't we all? That's just the existential life question. We need provisions. Is that all that is? It can't just be that ship. So there are ships around in the world that you can stop off at, and for a price, they will sell you things. It is appearing that is the only thing around here, though. But sometimes you can give them. You can deliver news to them, and they'll give you things. So I guess we can take a risk. Oh, don't hit it. Oh, good lord. Feast, the only option. This option is only for those who already turned cannibal. Your crew needs provisions. You can all tighten your belts, but bad things will begin to happen. This card will remain available as long as hunger is over 50. Don't let hunger reach 100. I don't have any strange catches. Okay. You now have one Z story. I can give that back to the guy back at land, but that's not gonna help me. Purchase fuel. I have no money. Okay. Ooh. This is not good. This is not good. Patrick's lot. Is that mine? I doubt it's mine. I couldn't make it up there even if I wanted to. So like, at this point, I've looked at like maybe a fifth of the world. But it feels like I've barely scratched the surface. Mostly because I constantly feel like I'm just fighting death. I don't actually feel like I'm accomplishing anything. I don't want to fight that. Nope. We can't handle it. All right, if we're gonna do this, we need a destination. We're not gonna make it home. That is for sure. Even if we make it home, we don't have any money. I say we go south. I say we throw caution to the wind. Adventurers are the ones rewarded. Also, starvation walks the ship. Day by day, you all grow weaker. Each sip of fresh water is carefully rationed. Sailors squabble over scraps of leather. Each morning, bodies are found stiff and cold. Consign their bodies to the sea. Feast on their remains. You are past the age of desperation. They have died. You will live. Forgive me. Forgive me. You have gained 5 terror. You now have 1 menaces. You have lost 1 crew. You've lost 50 hunger. Well, I don't know if that was an improvement. And that jellyfish keeps chasing after us. And the deck weapon continues to be stuck, but now, okay, now it lets us. Oof, we were almost out of fuel. Without fuel, your ship is just an oddly shaped house located. Well, there are some options here, but we're going to worry about them in a second. keep sending out my Z-Bat. Okay, that's where we're going. We're headed to that area. Where is it? Oh, I missed it. Do we even have enough fuel to actually dock there? I don't know. That's a great question. Beautiful visuals. I love the way the game looks. I find a lot of the game kind of impenetrable. Or maybe not impenetrable, but does not satisfactorily explain itself. We're gonna run out of fuel right before the docking spot. Oh god. Alright, so when things like this happen, desperate measures, there are like different options the game will provide you. If I had more supplies, I could use the food as fuel. Again, if I had supplies, I could use the food as fuel. But I have no supplies. I have people that we could eat. I guess theoretically counts as supplies, but I suppose not in this scenario the game is proposing. But we have some more radical options in front of us. Make a sacrifice to Storm. Storm, the god in the roof. The angriest of the three. He's as likely to crush you as to save you, but you could hardly be worse off after all. He will require death. Time to draw lots. Make a sacrifice to Stone. Stone is the kindest of the gods of the Z. But that's not saying very much. She has a great wound from which a river of blood flows. Wound yourself in memory of her, and perhaps she'll show mercy. Make a sacrifice to Salt, the god of horizons and farewells. Who knows what he'll do? Whisper a secret into the dark and sea. Fire distress flare. Nope. Abandoned ship. Draw lots for lifeful places. Cast yourself on the mercy of the waves. There's a tiny chance you'll find your way back to London without either crew or ship. Perhaps it'll be better if you don't. Man, we're asking the gods for help. Storm, you sound like an X-Men. You sound angry. I'm gonna ask for your help. The blood of the sacrifice is black in the deck lights. The crew are silent. No one will look at anyone else. The Z stirs, withdraws, flattens, and naturally rises in a wave as high as a hill. Your ship is borne up, high enough that you glimpse the roof of the neath. And that comes crashing down. You've gained 129 hull. You've lost 2 crew. That didn't help us. That healed us, but did not give us fuel. Alright. The wound is impossibly hard to staunch. Your ship's doctor fuses with bandages. The deck is awash. Your vision becomes cloudy at the corners. The roaring buzz in your ears. You see the puzzled doctor hold the diamond splinter. This came from the wound. Thanks, Stone. You have 2 wounds. At 3 wounds, you'll die. You have now 1 outlandish artifact. None of these are giving us fuel. It lands on the rail and cocks its head. It blinks at you. 2 tiny eyes like chips of crystal. It rises and is lost in the deep of the night of the earth. Your gaze follows it. When your gaze returns the ship, you realize that the ship is elsewhere. Gasps from your crew tell you you're not imagining it. Perhaps it's not where you want it to be, but that's all for you. You're returning to port? An whole veracity lives here in the far reaches of the Z. The priests are long gone, but sacrifices are still made. Perhaps you've come here to make a sacrifice. Perhaps the sacrifice is you. An act of burning faith, which God holds sway here. Storm, Stone, Salt. Perhaps no God that is somewhere named. If you feed it, it will calm your mind. I have none. Lose your mind. Offer your thoughts at the altar. Do not do this. Eat your crew. Not all of them will go easily. Do not do this. This will destroy your crew and any human or near human officers. The struggle will wound or even kill you. Compile a port report. Silence, desolation, the sense of an impending terrible mistake. It's not. Everything is horrible. It's not really an appropriate title for a formal report, is it? Let's find something a little more clinical. Wow. We have found our way to the other end of the map. There is literally no way for us to get back. We can't make another sacrifice. Even if we feast, like, where does that get us? We'll feast anyway. I think we have to lose our mind. Let's look at this really quickly. That's gorgeous. This game looks incredible. It's what you're witnessing here is probably the wildest story I have encountered so far, and that is a combination of what the game presents to you and is quote-unquote scripted or part of the experience, or can be stumbled upon by any player, and then there is just sort of a random element that occurs as a result of you being backed into a corner and having to make increasingly odd decisions as a result. I'm going to lose my mind. The game says don't do this, but if my options are to abandon ship or lose my mind, I'm going to lose my mind. Do not do this. Go. A dead wind which blew from the north. A hungry sun rode the wind. It made a memory of memories of castle. There are mirrors in the eyes, 1,000 doors and none. The end of the chain is horizon's beginning. Horizon's beginning. Your throat is bleeding. You've gained 7 fragments. You've gained 64 terror. New total 100. Crazed. Terror is not increased. This quality cannot currently increase past 100. Oh, I have attempted to leave despite having no fuel, no provisions. Fear and despair have destroyed the loyalty of your crew. Half of those who remain have taken up arms against you. You've taken shelter on the bridge. While the shots ring out about you, cut them down. Failure here means your game is over. Attempt to win them. Your only hope is their only hope of reaching them alive. Make them understand that failure here, as it happens, will also end the game. A high-risk challenge. Let's fight them. You take cover with your roll list and hold them at bay as long as you can. One by one, you run out of ammunition. When they storm the bridge, you fight them hand to no avail. One of them smashes you through the glass of the bridge windows. You tumble to the deck as they shout in desperate victory and land with a final crunch. Iron 28 failed in a challenge. Try again, and you may have better luck. No one returns. London will spectate in vain how you might have died. Your crew has fallen to 0. Since you're one of your crew, this is the end. Into the darkness, you will be mourned. Into the darkness, you'll be mourned, but be provided for your heirs. So you can write a will that allows you to pass on parts of your experience to the next character / captain that you play, which is essentially how the game starts stacking, is that you venture out further and further, you learn more and more about the world, you get a little bit deeper every time, and in addition to your knowledge base expanding, you literally are leaving behind things for your heirs. So even though I don't have a will, you do get some options on ways you can give someone else a leg up on where they go. So these are options you get, legacy qualities if you happen to purchase a will. I did not. You increase your starting hearts to 25, veils with 25. Right, so basically like your starting stats start up with a bonus. An ironclad will, your next character inherits your lodgings along with any heirlooms you have stored there. So it's really the one you probably want to get to the most, is because you can have things I assume that you could probably sell that allows you to give a leg up really quickly in money to purchase probably a better ship, and then all of a sudden you can kind of zip around and do a bunch of quests really quickly. So you were dead of juniors, so this is where I get to pick sort of my options. So I can choose one. Correspondent, retain 50% of the page value and the chart. Retain 50% of their heart's value and one officer. Retain 50% of their veil's value and 50% of their money. I didn't have that much money. Retain 50% of their mirror's value. Retain 50% of one weapon. So you can kind of see how this turns out too. You can change who you inherit. So I think I'm going to do that. 50% of their heart's value, 1 officer. I will accept that legacy. And I got an achievement for it, which means I'm good at video games. So then you start over. Like, that is, boom, it is over. It is gone. As with, you know, a lot of these types of games, you then start from scratch. There are elements that change. You run into different types of enemies, but the map itself is roughly the same, as far as I can tell, anyway. You can choose to, when you start a new character, you can choose to kind of like pick your past. In the past, I have pretended to be, or to have chosen to be, I guess, a couple of different ones. I'm not sure which exactly, but basically they give you a bonus to different stats. So, like, let's say because I started with a bonus of hearts because of my legacy, then maybe I don't want to start with a bonus to hearts, but maybe I want to start with a bonus to let's go ahead with Veils 25. Veils is deception. That means I've also received another officer, Iron +1, as a result of having that officer. Then you can also sort of pick an ambition, and I basically mean, as far as I can understand, that basically creates a win condition for the game. Sure, let's do your father's bones. None of those seem to matter that much, at least as far as I can tell, because they seem, if they're not an end game, then they are pretty deep in a way that I never really have to worry about them. You can choose how you're dressed. Like, the game gives you lots of really interesting options, both in how the game perceives you. You can have an avatar that appears to be female, but have people address you as sir. You can choose whether you are addressed as a mother or a father, regardless of what gender you actually sort of identify in the game, or have characters identify you as. Like, the game gives you all these really interesting customization options that it passes no judgment on. It has actually very little consequence. It's more just about allowing the player to create the kind of character that they want to create, and the game plays out regardless of sort of that choice. But obviously that choice plays into how the player feels about their character and presents themselves when they are choosing various options going forward. I've also lost my child. I don't want anyone to feel bad for me, but I did. Let's go with an old, yeah. So I was always Odetta, and that was Odetta Jr., so Odetto is the male Odetta. We're gonna go with that as that. That's like my first hint to try and track down what exactly is going on with my father's bones. And then depending on the paths that you choose, like, you have these different characters that show up that allow you to unlock more money and things of that nature, and they each demand different types of objects in order for you to cash in on that. This one is a Harlot Fry. This is you can buy something, 500 Echo. You can buy a live specimen. This is one of the early things that I learned. Quick pro tip. This is sort of like tutorial stuff. It explains like very basic things that are going on in the game, and then if you want to sell it, you hit go, and then you've gotten kind of a leg up early on, and now you suddenly have 110 Echo. Let's see. So these are just me kind of picking up like early quests in order to kind of kick things off. So taking this person. taking these guys up. So I got several objectives, and they're kind of like listed in this journal here. So I'm trying to take those guys north. In London, you can see like these general quests that you can pick up. Oh, I have too many crew. Let's see. What if I guess that doesn't matter. I haven't been able to figure out if you can actually reduce the number of crew you have. Like, do they just need to die in order for you to... So these are the different ships you can get. Obviously, like 29,000 echoes. Like, I'm constantly dealing with like 100, 200 if like I'm lucky. The idea that I would have 2,000 echoes is something I don't know what that would feel like. I don't. I would like to one day to know what that feels like, but so you can immediately leave, and then you just kind of kick off the way you did before. As you can see, that map is now completely empty for the taking. But again, every time as you jump in, you have a little bit of a sense of what was going on before, which means hopefully that you are making some sense of what was going on. Theoretically, like as I've experienced in the past, you are locating a lot of the same areas the second, third, fourth time around. This is now my third or fourth run. So I'll kind of show what happens when you complete a quest. We'll head up the map here. If we go up here for about 30 seconds, we'll run into a section in which I can complete the first one that I picked up there. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this game. It has so many things that I want to like. Oh, disable the tutorial. I like this horn. Pressing the H key will blow your horn. This has no useful function. May provoke nearby Z-beasts or hostile vessels. That's really funny. Oh, resume. I've also noticed if you ride up behind the ships, like literally right behind them, they don't appear to shoot you. As you can see, that it becomes difficult to kind of keep up with them sometimes, but now they have gone down for the count. The pirates have proven to be probably the most useful ones that you can take out, because you get these caches, which have 2 fuel, which is great. That I never get that ever. Maybe this will finally be my lucky run. But as you make way up the coast, the map continues to fill itself in. You have this terror meter that's kind of happening over here. Not super sure how that plays out. There are certain events that are triggered as a result of your terror meter being up to a certain point, and it must affect like the sanity of your crew, but I've not found it to be a particularly impactful part of my play, but that may be just because I'm terribly early in the process of playing this game anyway. So we'll head over here, get to port, dock. So when I get here, someone else is looking for help. So your tomb colonist pastor yanks off her bandages. She looks remarkably healthy for a tomb colonist. I'm not as dead as I look. I won't be assured without your help. Yes, the council was looking for me back home. Is that a problem? You slip your furtive passenger past the skin check post in the confirmation of constellation. Thanks, Captain. She remarks casually. Let me teach you a couple of tricks just in case you do this again. Here's a little hush money. You've now received 1 times menaces. I've gotten 200 echo. You've brought a criminal to Vanderbilt and assisted her. You got 1 veil. Cool. All that seemed pretty great. So I'm going to explore. So I'm not going to read all this stuff because I've seen a lot of this stuff before. You visit different folks and they'll tell you, hey, please help me. Here's a book. Go find all the other stuff that's going on. So let's see. So now I've got, like, you know, I have more money than I think I've ever had while playing this game, to be honest. And I've gotten it within, like, the first 30 seconds, which doesn't mean anything, right? Like, the money is going to disappear really quickly because fuel costs 10, supplies cost 20. So even with, you know, $280 or whatever it is that I'm currently dealing with, that doesn't exactly mean a whole lot, because just to fill up on 5 supplies, that's $100, or echoes. You know, let's say we want 10 pieces of fuel. Well, that's you know, that's nearly 100. So like the $200 disappears awfully quickly. But yeah, that's kind of Sunless Sea. There's probably a lot more to it. I'm tremendously early in and still kind of making my way through. But as I was kind of mentioning before, I want to like this game a lot more than I currently do. I enjoy some of the creepy and weird stories that come out of it, and the fact that it is a game in which you are, you know, more or less expected to die and to not worry about it too much, and that's just sort of the nature of the game. But it has a really poor tutorial. It doesn't explain itself in some... I feel like the kinds of games I have played that function similar to Sunless Sea, when you die, you at least feel as though, okay, I see where I goofed up. Now I know what I have to work on for the future, and I guess maybe I gain a little bit of knowledge in like the 3 to 4 hours I've played of Sunless Sea, but I don't come out of it going, all right, I have a plan of attack for the next time. Often it's just, I don't know, I guess I'll goof around and maybe I'll run into the thing that I need to do next because I haven't quite cracked what exactly is going to allow me to purchase anything beyond just barely surviving and having enough fuel and supplies to make it to the next route. There's clearly probably a section I have to get over that will allow me to do that, but I haven't found it, and the game doesn't make it particularly easy to tease that out. It makes me want to go check a bunch of other videos on YouTube of just, here's what you need to do, and that seems to run contrary to the best parts of the stories in this game, in which you have things go wrong. You take a chance and it goes poorly. And I want to make more of those chances, but like to do all this ramp up, like the game basically needs like 30 to 40 minutes before you feel like you've caught up to what you were doing before, and then maybe you can take a risk again. And it's possible that I'm approaching this the wrong way, and maybe there's ways that I could be addressing that faster, and maybe once you do get over a certain hump that you're leaving enough legacy to the folks behind you that it doesn't matter. But I find it frustrating because I feel like I'm knocking on Sunless Sea's door and no one's answering. And I look around and see all these folks having such a great time with it, or saying they're addicted to it. They're just having these amazing stories. And I have like kind of good stories and kind of fun times, but it's something I want to like, and it's not so much that I don't think it's impossible for me to like. I just feel like I'm missing something, or the game's making me feel stupid, and it's not a great feeling. It's not a great feeling to feel that way, and it's often hard to tell where that ends with you and where that begins with the game. But yeah, that's a bummer note to end on. But that is Sunless Sea. It is it's on sale. I think it's normally $20. On sale for about $17 right now. So if something like this looks interesting to you, bon voyage. Good luck. Have fun at sea. Maybe tell me what I'm not seeing in terms of kind of figuring out where to go in this game sometimes. But yeah, That has been Sunless Sea, and I'm going to play more. I need to understand a little bit more, but I don't know. I feel like you gotta give this game 1 or 2 more hours, and if it doesn't quite happen, then maybe it's just not meant to be. But that is Sunless Sea, and it is out right now.